We all have to go to school. Some of us choose to stop after high school, and others choose to go on to college. But at some point, your time in school will come to an end. So the question is, what happens after that? Obviously, the answer to that is totally different for everybody. In my experience, most of the advice you get after graduation amounts to, hey, you've got so much potential, you got this. While I appreciate the sentiment, there are plenty of specific things that would have been really helpful to know ahead of time. So here are the top things I wish I knew about life after school. Number 1, you have to put in the work to have good friends. One of the weirdest adjustments after graduation is suddenly not being around all your friends anymore. And even if you didn't have good friends in school, it's still kind of odd to not be around all these people that you've been getting to know over the last few years. I mean, maybe you're glad you don't have to see them anymore. I know I sure was after high school. But even for introverted people like myself, it's likely that you won't want to be totally alone for too long. Don't fall into the trap of isolation like I did. A lot of your school friends will probably move away, and it's totally fine to text them or call them, but it's the friends that are close by that actually make a difference in your life moving forward. And these new friends are probably going to be your coworkers or people with common interests that are around you. If you're lucky enough to have friends from school that stuck around, you'll still have to put in a lot of effort to maintain those friendships too. You won't have the common experience of school to share anymore. Here's the secret I learned. Start being the initiator. Don't just say, oh, we should hang out soon, or let's get together sometime. You be the person that specifically makes a good suggestion and picks a time and a date to do it. So instead of saying, oh, we really need to hang out, say, hey, do you want to come over next weekend, like Friday or Saturday? We could play Mario Kart. That way you've already put in the work to do the planning and the details, and all they have to do is respond. You'll find that really often people are happily surprised by that and would love to hang out with you. And if not, no big deal. I only adopted this mindset in the last couple years, and I've really seen new friendships grow and develop because of it. Number 2. You'll probably want to structure your daily life. For all the things you could say about school, it's hard to deny that it provides a structure for your daily life. It generally starts and ends at the same time. You have clear tasks and goals, and you're always working towards something. But that won't be the same once you graduate. Like, sure, you'll have a job to fill up most of your days, but you won't have homework anymore. You don't have tests to study for. Events and parties aren't just there anymore. You have to seek them out. And obviously you won't have grades to work on anymore, so the only goals you have will be the ones you set for yourself. So maybe start thinking about what you want outside of just making money. Things like, what will you be saving for? How am I going to spend my nights and weekends? What is important to me now? If you don't think about those things, then it's a really slippery slope into just binging Netflix and gaming all the time and scrolling through Instagram with all of your free time. Sounds like I'm being lighthearted about it, but trust me, you don't want to lose yourself like that. Number 3, your money goes away fast. One of the great things about having your first real job after school is you'll make the most money you've ever made in your whole life, and it feels great. But then you quickly realize it disappears fast. So here are some quick examples for you. You have to pay rent if you moved out. You potentially have to make loan payments from college. You have to get groceries, which is actually really expensive. You have to pay for gas to drive around. There's internet, there's phone, there's car insurance. This is all just scratching the surface. And everything there that I listed could cost you thousands of dollars per month. Thousands. I seriously didn't realize how expensive it is just to exist. So if you haven't already, consider making a budget to keep track of where all that money's going. You really don't need to get fancy with this. Just have a spreadsheet or something with some basic categories and log the different things that you spend. Otherwise, you'll find yourself really quickly overwhelmed by all of the expenses you have, so it's best to just stay organized. Number 4, advocate for yourself at work. Maybe you already had a job during high school or college, but the big difference now will be working full-time all the time. Especially if you got a degree, you'll be jumping into career work for the first time. When I say advocate for yourself, I mean that in a couple different ways. For one, you probably got used to being told what to do throughout school. And in your job, it's somewhat the same, but most places will expect you to take initiative to fill the rest of your work time beyond what tasks were given to you. And the better you get at that, the more reason you'll have to ask for a raise. Unfortunately, a lot of places really won't consider you for a raise unless you go out of your way to present your case to the right people. So get used to tracking your good work and strategically ask for more pay at the right time. The other side is advocating for yourself in a bad situation at work. You may find yourself in an uncomfortable or unsafe environment, or under a bad manager, or on a really bad team. Trust your gut and just ask for what you need, like working on a different team or less hours, or honestly, just speak up when you feel like something's wrong. Whatever you do, don't feel the need to stay in work that you really hate. Be smart about it, but you don't want to end up like this guy.
Coming to bed, honey?
Yes, dear.
I was there for multiple years before I broke down and couldn't take it anymore, so Just don't do it in the first place. And last, just learn to cook. I decided to include this one because I feel like it's something that's really helpful, but also really underappreciated. Cooking is just such a good skill to have. The most common thing I hear though is, oh, I'll just learn to cook later. But really, just start learning to cook now. You'll save money from not eating out as much. Eventually you'll get good enough where you can make things you actually like eating better than what you could get elsewhere. And you can make food for other people, which makes you more confident when you're having them over. Being a good cook has real potential to set you apart and earn respect. Plus, it's a fun hobby if you want it to be. I learned most of these things years after graduating college, and honestly from making a lot of the mistakes I mentioned. But you know what? I'm here now, I learned from my mistakes, and now I can tell you about it. So if you're close to graduating high school or college, congrats, seriously. You should be excited. There are a ton of great things that you can learn and experience from here. And don't feel like you need to know everything. We all learn from experiences and mistakes. And yeah, we often learn the hard way, but you don't have to. If you remember even a couple of these things, you'll have a good head start after school.